Hey guys, welcome back to a shorter episode. This one's actually going to be a story time more than a gameplay, but we are going to be exploring the cave that we found earlier today. Um, so I'm going to explain what happened to me in class today. If you have watched my previous video, The Legend of Biff, then you will have some of the background on this. It's the same class that Biff was in with me. I'm in college, first year, and so one of the classes that I have to take is psychology. And so there's a 5-person setup, and there's like 5 people at a table basically. And so we had to do a group project, and we had to pick 5 people. So nobody in that class knew each other, so we obviously just picked like the people around us. Well, anyways, so there's a Mexican dude, there's a kid who went to school in like a small town outside of Vegas. There's me. The kid to the left of me is overly talkative. Like, he just will talk about anything for, like, a long amount of time. And he's a good guy, but honestly, I don't care if you watched a TV show that was about a doctor who was a psychiatrist, but he has ADD or schizophrenia, so he has visions in his head while he's... I just don't care. And so, anyways, so... our project is to... oh, boy, it's to not get fucked. Hold on. Our project is to read a section of the book and paraphrase it in our own words. And so we have to do a presentation on it laterwards. Okay. And so my part is 3 pages long. There's about, I want to say, yeah, there's 6 sections, and Biff was part of our group, but Biff is in jail, so obviously he can't really do that. And so there's 5 of us with 5 sections. And it was due on Monday, and we came in on Monday, and apparently the Mexican kid didn't have the PowerPoint done because the small town kid never sent him the outline for the PowerPoint, so it was a big miscommunication. We got fucked because of it. So, come today, we are going to present, and she tells us, just try to do it fast, like, it's okay that you're doing it. I'll let you do it. I'll only take off like 10%. But just do it fast because I want to have the lesson still. And so we're like, alright, we can do that. So we get in like 5 minutes early. And the small town kid and Hatbro are apparently at the store buying fucking cupcakes. And so we end up starting our presentation like 10 minutes after class starts. So it's already off to a stellar start. And so, we start our presentation. The Mexican kid's first. His part's pretty good, and I don't know if this is a group grade or a individual grade, but, so the Mexican kid goes, and it's pretty good, and then I'm next, and if there's one thing I learned from taking Com 101 last semester, is even if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, if you sound confident, people will believe you. And so I walk up there, and I tell myself, everyone in this class is my bitch. And I make eye contact with every single person while I'm talking. And while I'm not even sure I know what I'm talking about, I make sure they know that I know what I'm talking about. And so after I go, it's the talkative kid. And the talkative kid, I don't know, he's been talking about how much he's been researching this, and how he has a scholarly journal article, and how he read it through, and how he picked it out of like 4, and he's like so proud of it. So he gets up there, and he's just like, I swear to God, he's drawing a blank. And he's just like, and he like looks over at the PowerPoint and just starts reading straight off the PowerPoint. And I'm just like, oh God, it begins. And so he does that for like 5 minutes, and then it's just like super duper awkward. And the teacher's just like, alright, well, Hatbro, can you go? And so Hatbro goes up, and like I said earlier, keep in mind, the whole point of this is to summarize like parts of the book. Hatbro starts off his goddamn presentation with, alright, well, I read what was in the book, but I think it's BS, so... and the teacher just gives him a look like, what the hell? So she lets him go for like a minute or 2, and she stops him, and she's like, you're doing the wrong thing. Like, you're doing the opposite of what I asked you to do. And he just looks at her, he's like, oh. And he's just like, gets all like sheepish, and he's like... and he like reads off the PowerPoint for the rest of the presentation. So I'm like, well, this is just going fucking great. I'm so glad about this. And so he doesn't even finish reading off the PowerPoint because she's had enough of his shit. And so it's talkative kid's turn to go again, but with his journal article this time. And because he had already fucked up on the first part, the teacher goes, alright, well, without looking, she says, I quote, without looking at your journal article, tell me what it says. He instantly looks down at the goddamn journal article, and I'm just like, well, and I just, ugh. I have two hands over my face, because I'm in the corner. Like, I am literally face palming at this point. And, like, it's so awkward. And she's, like, asking him questions about it, and he doesn't even know. And so she just goes, do you even know what this journal article is about? And he's like, to be honest, I really don't. And at this point, I have two hands on my face. I wish I had a third, so I could have, like, a triple face palm. It was like, oh, so bad. And so then, oh, my God. And so it was so bad to the point where the teacher literally asked us to stay after class, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to drop this class because I'm sure as shit failing this. And so after the class, the teacher's like, alright, well, Mexican guy, what did you do, and what do you think you deserve on the project? He's like, well, I did the PowerPoint, and I think I probably deserve, like, a 40, because it's out of 50, and we have 10% off because it's late. So she's like, alright, well, I think the PowerPoint is pretty good, and while there's a typo or two, it was still a pretty good PowerPoint, so I'm going to give you a 45. So he's like, alright, sweet. Then it's the small town kid. It's his turn, because she's asking all of us what she thinks our grade should be. So he says a 40 as well. And she's like, well, honestly, the outline was pretty good. Like, everything made sense. I liked it. And she gives him a 45, too. And so it's my turn now. And she's like, alright, well, what do you think you should get, Brandon? And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I really didn't do all that much. All I did was the cover page and my part. But I thought, hey, well, these people have already said 40. So I was like, I guess I'll just ask for a 40. And I expected, like, a 35 probably. But I said a 40. She was like, well, I really liked your speech, so I think I'm going to give you a 45. And the cover page was good, too. I didn't actually do the cover page. It was the other kid, but he put my name on it. And so, like, I was just sitting there like, well, this is pretty fucking awesome. And then it gets to super talkative kid. Oh my god, I'm getting gangbanged. Stop. Okay, so it gets to super talkative kid. And she's like, what do you think you should get? And he goes, probably like a 10. And we're the only people in the class. So I just, like, turn, and I'm trying really hard not to make it obvious that I'm laughing. I'm literally laughing out loud at this point. I'm just like, this is so troll. She's like, well, I don't think you even read the thing, but I mean, at least you went up there and did it, so I'm going to give you an 18. And I was just like, get fucking wrecked. And so then Hatbro ended up getting, like, a 35 out of 50 somehow, even though he literally did the opposite. I don't know. But moral of the story is, even if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, if you sound like you know what you're talking about, and if you know what you're talking about, then it's going to work out. Thank you and good night.